Well, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to go over an interesting observation that I have recently surmised within the past month or so when it comes to Gavin Newsom. And it's this strange obsession Newsom has with Donald Trump and anything MAGA. And we know about the LA riots. He's still trying to be relevant. The whole situation was going away. It had completely went away once the Israel-Iran war kicked off, and now Newsom is trying this sham lawsuit to get back in the news and go against MAGA, and he's calling MAGA evil. And remember, initially, we have to put all of this into perspective, what Newsom is doing here. In 2024, honestly, like a year ago at this time, because this is when Biden had the terrible debate yesterday and then ended up dropping out, people were talking about, well, maybe Newsom somehow being elevated over Kamala Harris. That would be a very hard thing to do, considering Harris was the VP. But people were talking about it. So Newsom really has always been this kind of 1B option for the Democrats when it comes to leading a ticket. Now, in 2024, that didn't happen because of Harris. But you can see right now the Democratic nominee in 2028. I think this is kind of ridiculous to be looking at this right now, but this does add context to the video. Newsom is sitting at around 13% in terms of the betting. He's been ahead basically the entire time. AOC and Pete Buttigieg, I highly doubt would ever lead a ticket in 2028. Newsom seems like by far the most realistic option at this point. That's not to say he's going to lead it. I still don't love his chances. I think somebody else is going to emerge and they're going to steer clear of a coastal elite. Although potentially you could go with a Gretchen Whitmer as a VP, maybe to balance it in a Rust Belt state. But let's not think too far about this. Let's understand that Newsom, we would say right now, is the clear leader. And I think we can agree on that. That doesn't mean, it really doesn't matter because it's 2025. It's a political eternity 3 years from now when the primaries are actually happening. Or I think at that point the primaries will be wrapped up by, mid-2028. Yeah, they would be, because we'd be talking about going into the actual election cycle, the general election cycle at that time. But you can see Newsom is explaining why he's suing Fox News. This is amazing. That's what Democrat Wins Media says. They're saying it's amazing. Remember, they always call Trump this horrible fascist. These are big labels you put on Trump. So then what happens is the Republicans will say, okay, you need to explain what you mean. What has Trump done that's terribly fascist as it pertains to him in terms of leadership, leading the country? And then they say, well, he sued Ann Selzer, the Ann Selzer poll. He sued CBS because of the 60 Minutes interview. That's what they say on why Trump's a fascist. So now we've got Gavin Newsom, and I believe what this is Gavin Newsom is suing Fox News over a phone call and now saying it's just like the Dominion lawsuit. And he's saying, I'm going to fund my campaign with Fox News money. That's probably what he's thinking, because he's obsessed with 2028. He knows this is his time. And unfortunately, Democrats, no matter how ridiculous it is, they do get rewarded by their own party for simply opposing Trump, no matter the situation. And again, this is a situation that was already resolved and it was not in the public eye. This is how news works in 2025. Something is hot one day, nobody cares about it the next. We have very short attention spans when it comes to spotlight news coverage on events. That's why when Israel-Iran happened, everyone forgot about the riots and the fact that Trump called in the National Guard. But Newsom and his team are like, well, we somehow have to stay relevant. But I don't even know, like Newsom needs to realize it's not even the midterms yet. I don't know why he's this upset. It's like he's running a campaign that's going to be, 3 years long? 3.5 years long? I mean, you could argue when Trump had a spat with Newsom about the California fires, that was another situation. And he wants to have immense power, and he wants everyone to know that he is the clear front runner for 2028. So this pandering to where it's I'm anti-MAGA, and you see AOC do it. To be fair, AOC is more left. With Newsom, it's just he's clearly pandering. And then, you've got people like Crockett and some of these others. Cory Booker will go out. He'll talk for 25 hours straight. It's all in an effort to try and raise money for a 2028 campaign. So all these Democrats are jockeying. But Newsom, it's like there's an extra obsession there because he knows that technically he's the leader and this is his one shot to be the Democratic nominee in 2028. So there's this crazy obsession, and people like within Newsom, they're like, he's obsessed. It's really unhealthy. It's we have to help him somehow because it's still 3 years away and he'd be running against Vance. And how about what he said to Vance during the time in which he had the political spotlight when he had the mainstream news coverage because of the riots? Newsom said to JD Vance, because Vance is like, yeah, we want to help these people. We're managing the situation. We're elected. I mean, we're trying to help. And then Newsom's like, I don't care about any of that. You debate me right now. And it's like, dude, I mean, this is the type of person we're dealing with here. Newsom challenges Vance, who's the current VP, who was just elected like 7 months ago, to a debate. He's like, debate me, bro. Debate me, bro. But no, that's where we're at with Newsom. And so let's see what some of this is. Newsom's like, yeah, this is the Dominion 2.0. I'm going to win a huge lawsuit because Fox News lied about a phone call. Is that really what this is?
No, I appreciate it. I mean,
remember when Newsom had his big address to the country and like 10 people watched during the riots?
I think you summed it up beautifully. I mean, they knowingly misrepresented the facts. They altered and edited statements of the President of the United States,
like 60
videos,
minutes.
And they knowingly stated that I lied about a phone call with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, as we know, lied about a phone call he had with me the day before. That call, in fact, was almost 4 days prior. Trump himself went to John Roberts of Fox to show a screenshot of the call. That call was never in question. They went on then to alter the fact that the president said it was a call the day before, and then it was weaponized further on the Jesse Watters.
It was a call before. It was 3 days ago. I was on the toilet. It's like, dude, nobody cares. This is absurd. And this loses liberals' actual talking points against Trump. He's like, they misrepresented me. Just like when remember they called Trump a fascist. They said he's a fascist because he was suing CBS. When CBS, during an election cycle, they say they're fair. They say they want to give 60 Minutes interviews to both Kamala and Trump. I don't even think Trump took his. But Kamala Harris has this incoherent babble as a response to some type of Middle Eastern question. Or I'm not even sure what it was, but it was a big topic. And they edited out her answer on the incoherent babble. It was about 15 seconds they edited out, and you could tell it was edited because there was like this crazy cut and it didn't even make sense in terms of the context of the answer. So this is the exact same thing. But then here's Newsom, like, people think this is a huge win. Newsom's like, well, yeah, I called him 3 days ago, and then JD Vance 2 days after that said I was on the toilet and talked to Vance and Trump lied and then showed a fake law. It's like, dude, nobody cares. But see how the relevance, this is Newsom trying to stay relevant. He called me and he said he called me at 11:52, but it was actually 11:51. He lied, and Fox News is going to be sued because Jesse Walters said he called me at 9:32, but it was actually 9:17. He lied by 45 seconds. But it's like, what is this? They lied by 3 days. You're going to sue him? Really? This is trying to stay with the attention with Newsom, but Newsom knows, he senses that he is the leader right now within the Democratic Party. And there's going to become a point to where some of these just annoying, Newsom is going to have to start going after some of these annoying women within the DNC because he wants to be the true leader. And some of these women, they want the top mantle. They want the spotlight. And at some point, Newsom's going to say, bitch, shut up. I'm the leader of this party. I think that's probably coming at some point with Newsom because he senses this is his political breakout chance to go against Trump. But at a certain point, his strategists need to say, this situation is over. You need to stop trying to sue people. Just move on from it. Whether the phone call was on Tuesday or it was on Monday, but it was at 7 a.m. Pacific time. No, it was at 6 a.m. Pacific time. It was at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I mean, like, what are we talking about? We're arguing about a phone call, and you're going to sue him over that? Do you want to keep the spotlight on you? That's really what this is. And so, like, you look at this, Newsom, he senses he's their only viable, although I don't even think he's that viable. You could say Shapiro. I mean, you could argue maybe Shapiro is viable. How tall is Shapiro? If Shapiro's only like 5'10", it's not going to happen. But Shapiro might be viable. Newsom, being California, they would need a Rust Belt or someone from the Midwest to be the VP, which is probably why it would be Newsom and Whitmer, although that's two Caucasians. We know how the Democrats feel about that when it comes to balancing their ticket. Maybe they won't care because it's male-female, but Wes Moore, I've heard things about. He said he doesn't want to do it from Maryland. He's someone that I think would pose a threat to Newsom, honestly, because he seems a bit more balanced, but he said he's not going to run. We'll have to see. Stephen A. Smith, it's not going to happen with Stephen A. Kamala, it's not going to happen with Kamala. Bashir, he's a lapdog. Whitmer, maybe as VP. Cuban's kind of a wild card. Pritzker, it's not going to happen. Pritzker ate all the delegates. There's no way. Warnock, it's not going to happen. Cory Booker, maybe if Cory Booker goes out and gives a speech for like 48 hours, he might move up 1%. Ossoff, I mean, he's got a big midterm race in 2026. Waltz, yeah, people have been talking. Another thing people have been talking about, how about this ticket? And this is not even a viable ticket. Republicans do this, though, to troll. They're like, the Democrats are talking about a ticket. It's Tim Walz as the actual presidential candidate and Zoran Mondani as the VP. Now, Mondani cannot even be the VP because he wasn't born in the United States. But it is funny to see that in Democrats. There's actually a few Democrats that did tweet out that ticket, Waltz and Mondani, which I don't think Waltz is going to be anywhere near getting any sort of delegates to have a chance at being the nominee of the Democrats. The Democrats would never allow that. Waltz is you want to talk about a weirdo? He is a weirdo. He was projecting when he was using that verbiage against Vance. But it's like, if they pick Waltz, that would be great for Republicans. They're not going to do that. They're better off with a Wes Moore. They're better off even with a Newsom, because at least he's got name recognition. He did debate DeSantis. He is running the most powerful state in the United States. The most powerful state in the country. That's a better way to verbalize that. But yeah, so listen, this is just this weird obsession Newsom has, and it's like, it's a dead giveaway. Like, dude, who is telling you to debate JD Vance right now? That seems like that now we're getting borderline, or I don't even think it's borderline. Now we're getting to where there's desperation here. JD Vance just won on Trump's ticket as the VP 8 months ago, and you want to debate him over what? A recent news event, the National Guard coming down, that's now irrelevant 2 weeks later, because this is how the news operates, and we just had Israel strike Iran, and then the United States strike Iran, and it's just like, this is a non-story at this point. And so there's just this obsession with Newsom trying to get, when you try and threaten Vance to a debate 3 years before the actual 2028 cycle happens. I mean, this is, Newsom obviously is going to go super try hard. This is his chance. He's got a much better chance than AOC or Buttigieg. Buttigieg cannot be their nominee, and they know that. Buttigieg being their VP, I think, would be bad as well, but he would be more viable as a VP. But with Newsom, it would have to be with Whitmer. Newsom and Wes Moore would be interesting, although Wes Moore being from Maryland, you're not getting a ton of that Rust Belt appeal. Newsom and Shapiro, they're not going to do two white men. They're just not going to. That's not the Democrats' MO. But look, we'll see what ends up happening. But I mean, you can see Newsom's been up throughout this entire early before the midterm. So it's very early, but still. And AOC, I don't know why AOC moved up so far in terms of the betting. Is more of a Newsom moving down. Who moved up? Bashir moved up, I guess. Liz Cheney. There's Jon Stewart. Mondani. Again, Mondani, he was born in Uganda. So I'm not even sure why he's on there, but we'll have to see. And it just seems like Newsom, like, I hadn't even watched this, and then he's like, well, 3 days ago they said this, but it was actually 2 days ago, and they got the time zone right. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, but this is the obsession, right? And Democrats, this is pandering to the Democrat base. They all hate Trump. They all have the TDS to where everything Trump does is bad. We have to oppose everything Trump does. And so this is what Newsom, and again, Newsom, he made the huge spectacle. I'm going to give this big statement it was 9:00 Eastern. It was strategically done to find the best viable time to get the most amount of viewers. And it was like an 11-minute statement, and 8 minutes of it got cut off because there was no audio. And it's like, nobody was watching this. I mean, this is like, but you just know the attention that Newsom wants. So it's important to understand that right now, by default, he is their favorite going into 2028. Now, it's way too early again, but it's just the default. And I think the Democrats will probably choose someone from outside the box. That would be my thought based off of Trump and how he won in 2024. They will probably go a little bit outside the box. And then for VP, they'll probably be very standard with the VP pick, I would guess. But we'll have to see. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.